Despite inflation falls marginally to 53.6% in January this year, the first decline in 19 months.
Price levels of goods and services have gone up by 53.6% relative to January 2022.
Economist Courage Buti says despite the marginal drop in inflation, the rate has not peaked yet as there are re-emergences of price pressures.
This kind of distrust, public distrust for policies and programs, especially coming from the Treasury, who control our finances and manage economic policy, is not good. You need to carry people along to make policy successful.
Plus, prices of petrol and diesel expected to go down between 7 and 11% from tomorrow. We'll hear from the Institute for Energy Security.
Our gauging, we foresee the price of both diesel and petrol dropping between the range of 7% and 10% going into the next 14 days.
We take a look at the details now. Inflation fell marginally to 53.6% in January 2023 from 54.1% recorded in December 2022. Latest data from the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed. Now, according to the figures, the rise in food prices pushed the consumer price index up. However, transport inflation fell for the first time in 19 months due to the reduction in fuel prices during the period. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Anim.
Inflation has been on the upward trajectory for almost 2 years in Ghana until January 2023. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the reduction in petroleum prices and some stability in the foreign exchange rate during the U-type period contributed to this reduction. Here is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Anim.
We recorded 54.1% for December 2022. And in January, we are recording 53.6%. So what is accounting for the marginal drop of 0.5 percentage points between December 2022 and January 2023? A careful scrutiny at the disaggregation gives us some inkling in terms of what is leading to that. We'll recall that from a food perspective, we saw an increase from 59.7% to 61.0%. And from a non-food perspective, we saw a decline of about 2 percentage points on a year-on-year basis between December 2022 and January 2023. So the first pointer is in terms of what is driving the marginal dip is more from a non-food perspective rather than a food perspective, because from a food perspective, as I indicated, there was a marginal increase of 1.3 percentage points, whereas from a non-food perspective, we saw a 2.0 percentage point drop.
For the regions, the Eastern region recorded the highest overall inflation as well as food inflation, whilst the Volta region recorded the least rate of inflation for the month of January.
We identified the Eastern region recording the highest food inflation of 79.8% and Greater Accra region recording the highest non-food inflation of 63.2%. Given the rate of inflation for food and non-food inflation, the region that recorded the overall highest inflation was the Eastern region with an inflation rate of 66.2%, followed by Greater Accra 65.0%. Comparing the region with the highest rate of inflation, Eastern region, and the region with the least rate of inflation, Volta region, which recorded a rate of 34.7%, we see about twice the percentage point difference between these two regions, with Eastern region recording 66.2% and Volta region 34.7%.
Meanwhile, imported items continue to record high inflation as against locally produced items.
Meanwhile, research lead with GCB Capital, Courage Buti, says despite the marginal drop in inflation, the rate has not peaked yet because there are re-emergences of price pressures like utility reviews and increase in export prices.
Non-food, and you can interpret that mostly for the goods we do not produce locally. most of the things we import that have imported inflation component even on them, and the exchange rate effect naturally will be affected by the repricing that happened, as opposed to the food items, most of which are from the local market, really, our local staples and some of the things we consume that are produced locally. And so the exchange rate dynamics will play a role. For January till now, you might say that all of these things happening on the positive side happened within the January pricing window, which just included 1 week of January, really. But I think in January itself, we saw the cedi fall quite sharply again. It might have corrected a bit in February, and we've seen it a bit stable now, but it is still news sensitive. And so the February print, which will include most of February and the first week in March, would actually, most of January and the first week in February would actually reflect the depreciation effects that we've seen for that period. And so the up and down movement may likely be there maybe in the next 2-3 prints before we could ultimately see inflation peaking. So yes, the non-food side of things will respond as things are now to the movement of the exchange rate and the price development of the market.
International ratings agency Fitch Ratings has downgraded Ghana's credit worthiness to further junk status. In its latest report on Ghana, it said, quote, Fitch Ratings downgraded Ghana's long-term local currency issuer default rating to restricted default from C, unquote. It attributed the downgrade to the decision by government to embark on the debt exchange program and the recent default on local bonds that matured on February 6, 2023, and another one which is due for payment this week. Fitch also affirmed Ghana's long-term foreign currency IDR at C, saying, quote, Fitch typically does not assign rating outlooks to sovereigns with a rating of CCC plus or below. Now, expect prices of petrol and diesel to go down between 7 and 11% from tomorrow, February 16. That's according to the Institute for Energy Security. However, the price of liquefied petroleum gas will go up. Here is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amwesi the 7th, with more details.
Over the last 2 weeks, IES review of the international market found that price of gasoline, that we call petrol here, has dipped by 1.16%. Also, the price of gas oil has dropped by almost 13% on that market. What also bodes well for consumers of this product is that on the domestic market, the cedi appreciated by close to 1% against the importing currency, the dollar. And so looking at these fundamentals, you can conclude that prices on the domestic market will drop. And by our gauging, we foresee the price of both diesel and petrol dropping between the range of 7% and 10% going into the next 14 days. The U.S. refiners have almost finished configuring their plants to start the new petrol or gasoline production. And so if production from U.S. in terms of petrol increases, it means that there will be much supply of both diesel and petrol on the international markets. And more supply means that prices of the products could be maintained or drop. Though the liquid fuels have been dropping, supply of gas has been quite challenging. That's natural gas. And you get a lot of LPG from natural gas, even though you get some LPG from crude oil. And so on the international markets, LPG price is higher. That is what will impact on consumers.
Now, over 2,000 women have benefited from the Power to the Fishes project executed by Crete Development Organization. The project, which was funded by the European Union, is aimed at improving the economic condition of fisher folks, particularly fishmongers in some coastal areas of the western and central regions. Here's more in this report.
Sponsored by the European Union, the Power to the Fishes project was developed to improve the skills of women in fishing business in areas such as business management, hygienic fish handling, processing of fish, as well as highlight appropriate fishing practices. Derek Adabi is manager for the Power to the Fishes project.
The Power to the Fishes project, which was funded by the European Union, is a fisheries management intervention that seeks to enhance the socio-economic livelihoods of coastal communities in Ghana. Under this project, we were able to engage in a multi-party advocacy to see to the end of illegal transshipment of fish bycatch. We've also facilitated technology adoption with regards to the Ahonto oven. We also built capacities on fish handling, business practices, and also environmental protection. And in addition to that, we've facilitated social protection coverage.
On her part, the head and team leader, Infrastructure and Sustainable Development at the European Union, Paulina Rosiska, said the aim of the EU is to encourage proper and legal fishing practices in Ghana.
With this project, EU is committed to fight the illegal fishing, and also I would like to commend the Ministry for Fisheries and Aquaculture for its recent directive to scrap possibility of dumping the bycatch and illegal transshipment, which is done now only limited only to 2 ports now under surveillance of the Fisheries Commission.
Talking about some areas that may be looked at in the future, the director in charge of West Africa, Serath Development Organization, Pa Kofi Osei Owusu, said his organization may go into other coastal areas to expand the project if it secures the required funding.
Absolutely. Of course, money is very important, and funding is key to this. And obviously, we are looking at, as I said, extending to the Volta region, the Greater Accra region, and even within the same Western and Central region that we're involved in. We didn't touch every place. We only touched 26 communities. That's quite a lot, but we touched 26 communities, and there's still more to be done in those places. So, dependent on our ability to secure funding as a non-profit entity, we will certainly scale up within and outside those target areas that we find ourselves.
The Ghana National Petroleum Corporation is in the central region to court the support of interest groups in curbing an imminent danger as a result of fishing activities around the Salt Pond oil fields decommissioning area. Some fishermen are defying safety precautions and directives from the Navy and the GNPC to stay away from fishing in the 500 meters exclusive zone in the project area. Prince Apia has more in this report. The Digital Technology Institute has trained about 1,400 mastercraft persons and small-scale enterprises in the Volta region in precision quality to enhance their work delivery. The training forms part of DTI's coaching program, which seeks to equip young Ghanaians with the requisite skill sets to position themselves to compete with products and services on the global market. Here's a report.
The MasterCard Foundation partnered with the Digital Technology Institute to implement the Transforming Youth TVET Livelihoods for Sustainable Jobs project under its Young Africa Work strategy. DTI formulated a coaching program as part of the 3-year project to expand the knowledge of mastercraft persons and artisans in precision quality. The Volta Regional Facilitator, Dr. Daniel Agbeko, shed light on the training models to enable the beneficiaries to effectively manage their businesses to enhance productivity.
Basically, the PQ training touches on 5 main areas. The first one is change to grow, and then the second one talks about process integration. How can you join the various processes to make the quality of your product efficient, right? That's how. And the third module is team and people development, right? Then the fourth one is about health and safety, and the last one is the customer management or customer relation, and the produce management or product management. Right.
To help beneficiaries better understand precision quality, the Institute decided to introduce the use of drama to highlight the significant roles it plays in the business environment. Edwin Fayose is the monitoring and evaluation specialist of DTI.
Currently, we are running in 3 different regions: Greater Accra, Volta region, and the Ashanti region. We've trained over 1,338 artisans in Volta region. This colorful event we call the Drama Edutainment. It's a top-up of the precision quality classroom training we give these artisans. Now, we actually brought them here to demonstrate in a drama form what precision quality really means. So I urge all artisans, this is actually the new normal. I urge all artisans to buy into this idea, because it will get to a point, once you are not PQ certified, it will be very difficult for you to gain very good job opportunities or very good contracts as far as artisanal is concerned.
Some beneficiaries shared their experiences and how the training had impacted their businesses.
Okay, for me, formally, what I do, if I get the money, I know that maybe I'm getting every day, so I don't really save. And also, I don't take stock. Let's say this is the product I buy, or this is the one remaining, this is what I've used. I don't record them formally, but now I know that the things that I buy or bought, I have to do record keeping. No, the ones that are finishing, the one that I have to restock, and also what is at hand, the money at hand, yes.
Digital Technology Institute expects that the program, which would end in June 2023, would provide 40,000 direct and indirect work opportunities for the beneficiaries. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
Vanguard Assurance has launched a same-day claim reloaded initiative to give customers with claims below 10,000 cedis access to their claims on the same day after filing for payment of their claims. According to the head of distribution at Vanguard Assurance, Samuel Esumang, the initiative was introduced to cushion citizens in these times of economic hardship.
Vanguard Assurance launched its Sales League to award its branch managers and sales agents for their outstanding sales contributions and achievements. The award was aimed at driving and encouraging its sales agents to strive hard to meet their target. Speaking at the award ceremony, Head of Distribution at Vanguard Assurance, Samuel Asuman, said the company is committed to paying claims on time, hence the introduction of the Same-Day Claim Reloaded initiative.
We've reloaded our same-day claim payment, where we are telling the public that any of our customers who is involved in a motor accident and the cost of repairing the vehicle, if it is 10,000 and below, once you bring the needed documentation within that same day, 24-hour period, before 3 p.m., we will pay the claim. So we also mentioned that there's no need for most of our clients to be walking into our various offices to process their claims, but they can do that online. So we have the online claim system, which is very interactive, online claim system where the customer can track the claim processes right from process A to process Z, where the client will receive the claim payments after filing for the claim. So we are saying that every step of the way, the client can track the transaction through notification that we send.
Yusuf Takib emerged overall best winner of the league. He urged other agents to work hard to achieve success.
You have to put out all your best before you can win this award. It's not easy. They are very tough, experienced, and they are well educated. They are connected as well. So to be able to come out as the overall best, you need to go the extra mile. You need to build a relationship with your customers. You need to make sure that their claims are paid on time so that they become a walking advertisement for you. I think that's the secret.
The awardees were appreciated for their contribution towards meeting the company's targets for 2022.
Telecommunications company Airtel Tigo, as part of their commitment to supporting the health and well-being of Ghanaians has donated medical equipment and supplies to the sickle cell unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The donation is in line with the Airtel Tigo Touching Lives sickle cell disease, which seeks to support persons living with the disease. Here's a report.
As the world marks Valentine's Day, a day set aside for the celebration of love and affection, Airtel Tigo has donated medical equipment and supplies to the Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The gesture is to show love to people living with the sickle cell disease. The medical equipment donated include infrared vein finders, mobile oxygen cylinders, and many others. CEO of Airtel Tigo, Leo Skalatos, indicated that the organization was motivated to take this initiative as a result of high prevalence of the sickle cell disease in the country.
We discovered that about 2% of the population here in Ghana is actually suffering from sickle cell, but that it's about 1/4 of the population that has sickle cell trait. So everybody in Ghana is affected either directly or indirectly by that. And we felt we had to do our part to assist. So that's why we're here. We recognize the significance of demonstrating love to those who need it the most, in our view, sickle cell patients, touching their lives with timely medical equipment and supplies to improve their well-being. These include mobile oxygen cylinders, pulse oximeters, mobile ECG machines, infrared vein finders, cardiac monitors, centrifuges, oxygen flow meters, and sample roll meters. Each of these items undoubtedly will go a long way to alleviate the cycle of suffering of sickle cell warriors who come to this Institute of Genetics for medical intervention.
Head of Brands and Communication for Airtel Tigo, Nancy Asedu, says the organization will continue to support the center in order to enhance the quality of life of sickle cell patients.
So last year, Airtel Tigo started running a sickle cell campaign, and this campaign was basically to sensitize Ghanaians about the disease. And we've been advocating for this since last quarter, putting materials on TV, on radio, in print, and also on digital. Today is Valentine's Day, and what we decided to do is that even on the back of what we've already done, come here to the Kolebu Sickle Cell Center to donate some equipment to the unit. We also added an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis for them to supplement whatever we couldn't provide. So going forward, you will see Airtel Tigo in collaboration with the unit doing great stuff.
In an interview with Joy News, the director of the sickle cell unit at Kolebu, Dr. Ama Akwesi-Kuma, stated that the donation from Airtel Tigo was very timely and would significantly improve the center's ability to provide better care for patients.
And we are indeed very excited here at the Institute for the show of love, no other day than Valentine's Day, by Airtel Tigo. Now the things that they have donated, we are in dire need and has been on our wish list for a very long time. If you look to my right, we have mobile oxygen cylinders. As an institute, we do not have wards. And so when we detain and we realize that the patients have to go on admission, we need to take them to that facility. For some of them, they are compromised in terms of respiratory or their breathing. And so they need to be on oxygen even whilst they are being transported. And so this comes at a very timely time so that we can do that.
The Airtel Tigo Touching Lives Sickle Cell Edition forms part of the company's corporate social responsibility and has been executed as a national sickle cell education campaign. Esther Nkrumah's report, read to you.
And that's all for business tonight. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broohm. Sports is next.